ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side three is good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome. It is the Tuesday, June 26th edition. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I am your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in. Back in the studio today. We've got a fun show because, first of all, we're going to have later on in the program David Kahn, West Virginia Power. We're going to get caught up with him. I'm looking forward to that, and we will take your phone calls as time permits at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. I got a couple things to get into today. I've got a great ranking of Conference USA college football coaches from the bottom to the lane train. Okay, I gave away number one, but I'll tell you where Doc Holliday and everyone else rank later on. So we'll get into that. A couple things I do want to catch up on. We didn't get a chance to get into it yesterday, but first of all, I thought this was great news that Marshall University President Jerome Gilbert, he has been selected to be a part of the NCAA Division I Presidential Forum. He's going to be representing Conference USA. So in September 1st, he will begin, and his term will end on August 31st, 2022. That's great for Marshall. You've got a forum that has one president or chancellor from each of the 32 Division I conferences. He's going to represent Conference USA. This was a group that was put together in 2015 to facilitate presidential leadership of athletics at the campuses, conferences, and, of course, national levels. The members serve as the primary presidential advisory body of the NCAA Division I Board of Directors. So he's going to be in an important position, not only representing Conference USA, not only representing Marshall, but being a part of a mechanism that could shape policy. So that's great news for him. It adds some prestige to Marshall University. How does it not? And you've got Mike Hamrick in a high position now. You have Jerome Gilbert in a high position now. I think that speaks volumes of what people think of Marshall University as a member of Conference USA, and, of course, the leadership. So congratulations to both of those gentlemen. It speaks volumes to what they're doing and how they're going about their business. He's excited. Here's what he said in the release. He said, "I am honored to represent Conference USA on the NCAA's Presidential Forum and look forward to working with this group of dedicated institutional leaders as this important time for intercollegiate athletics in our nation." He also added, "We believe in the value of competing in Division I sports and what it brings our student athletes and the whole Marshall family. We have proven at Marshall that our student athletes can be successful academically as well on the playing field. While on the forum, I will work to ensure the best interest of the institutions in Conference USA are represented, particularly the interest of our student athletes." So that's a big deal. That's really something to be proud of. And honestly, you've got him, you've got Mike Hamrick now, and I believe that Marshall's interest, and for the most part, what's good for Marshall is going to be good for Conference USA. What's good for Conference USA is going to be good for Marshall. So big deal there. Now, this was breaking news after we went off the air yesterday. We got the release today. The Greenbrier and FanDuel, they have got themselves a partnership now. They have finalized their agreement. FanDuel is going to provide retail, online, and mobile sports wagering services at the Greenbrier. FanDuel, of course, already deals with a lot of this metrics. You know FanDuel from their fantasy football and fantasy sports offerings. Here's an organization. They've got the infrastructure ready to go. They can handle probably everything that you need, and they've also got the technology part of this. That's the thing. Not only is this going to be an infrastructure issue, a statistics issue, making sure the line is good, making sure that everything is on the up and up, but also the technology issue. That's the big one right there. So the Greenbrier, they plan to have an on-site wagering platform, according to the release, inside the casino club at the Greenbrier, as well as a FanDuel-branded online site and mobile application. So they hope to have this up and running by fall. That's the goal. They don't have the exact date yet. West Virginia regulators are putting that together right now, so this can't launch this right now. But they're going to offer these services to guests who are interested. That's going to be a plus for them. And think of the implications as well, because now you've got sports books that are legal going digital. I can sit here right now on my phone. I'm going to drop a bet. Why not? And you could do it as well. And so that's going to be I'm not sure this is going to be the ultimate end-all, be-all as far as the revenues coming in, because everybody's going to have it, but it's newfound money. This isn't a gold mine in which you're the only person digging the gold. Everyone's going to have a piece of this, but that's just more money coming in. And just like the lottery brings new revenue in. I'm not necessarily going to be driving to Ohio or Kentucky or other states to play games, lottery, gambling, but at the same time, you have now a system in place for a lot of people. They can do this mobily. They can do this at the casinos. They can do this, and that's new money coming into the state, and it's new revenue that wasn't there before. Plain and simple, new revenue. And how much of that kickback is going to come to leagues? How much of that kickback to Marshall and West Virginia? Remember the governor had that announcement that there was going to be a fee and universities were going to benefit? I don't know if that's still going to be a thing. I'm sure something will come out that maybe benefits those schools. Here, we're going to put some of this money back towards you as far as compliance. I mean, after all, again, I go back to Mike Hamrick a few weeks ago talking about compliance because he has to get his ducks in a row. Not in the sense that there's something, this is coming. I've got to make sure everything's in place on my end because we've got to make sure that there are no compliance issues, no impropriety, nothing. And I don't think that's going to be a major issue, but at the same time, you have to be diligent. So that's where that is at. All right, we're going to get our first break in. We're going to come back. I've got David Kahn, West Virginia Power. We're going to get caught up with him later on. We're going to go down the rankings, at least one publication's rankings of all the Conference USA football coaches from the very bottom to the lane train. Everybody in between. We'll talk about that when we continue. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Don't forget, you can always catch the program if you miss it live on Apple Podcasts. We're on Stitcher Radio. We're on TuneIn. Wherever you get your podcasts is basically where you can find us. Don't forget, you can also go to our website at WRVC.com. Joining us on the program now, he's the voice of the West Virginia Power, David Kahn. He's going to get us set for all the power action taking place in Charleston tonight. Oh, wait, it's raining, David. We don't have baseball tonight.
Nope, no baseball tonight. Very sad way to start the conversation this week, Paul. But yeah, it's not going to happen tonight.
So since we don't have a game tonight, what do you want to talk about? Anything?
I'm going to go try out the mini golf course on Capitol Street. We could talk about that. Okay,
that sounds like fun. I'm a little disappointed because you had some fun things happening tonight that aren't happening now. First of all, the game has been canceled, not going to be made up. There's going to be a 3-game series tomorrow against the Hickory Crawdads. That begins starting at 7:05. So weather permitting, we will have baseball again. But there are some other things that were going on. Tonight's Wall of Fame induction ceremony for Paul Swann been rescheduled for Thursday, July 5th. If you want to start there, tell us about that as far as what was going to happen and what still will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those listeners who don't know about the Wall of Fame, since 2007, we've helped induct various people that have left an impact on the Charleston community through their contributions, their coverage of Charleston baseball, what have you. And really it's gone from former players in the major leagues, members of the media, some of the greatest namesakes you can think of in Charleston history. Over the years, we've inducted 26 different individuals and groups into the Michael C. Paterno Wall of Fame, which is currently on the concourse behind home plate. Paul Neiden is our 27th member that we're going to induct into the Wall of Fame, and he is the only representative of the 2018 Wall of Fame class. Now, for those who don't know, Paul left us back in March, so we thought it would be fitting to posthumously honor him for his great contributions when he was a longtime investigative reporter at the Charleston Gazette before they became the Charleston Gazette Mail. He was also a season ticket holder at both Wyatt Powell Park and Appalachian Power Park. He rooted on the Wheelers, the Alley Cats, the West Virginia Power. He brought his family to the ballpark. He hosted plenty of celebrations for the players. I mean, he was, without a doubt, a true Charleston baseball fan through and through. He covered the team as well. And, we couldn't think of a more fitting way to honor his memory than inducting him into the Wall of Fame.
Who are some of the other names that are on that wall? Just give maybe a sense of some of the people that you've honored in the past, if you know off the top of your head. That's a big list.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so, it ranges in, various entities. You've, of course, got the Toast Man, who was in the inaugural class in 2007. You've got Trevor Hoffman as well, one of the premier major leaguers to come through Charleston. He was a Wheeler. You've got guys like Lenny Ferteri, who was a longtime broadcaster with in Charleston. You also had Tony La Russa, Tommy John, guys like Omar Moreno, Wyatt Powell, the 1990 Charleston Wheelers, who were the only championship team in Charleston baseball history. So it really ranges from, many different kinds of groups, people, places. It really just kind of depends on who we decide to etch into memory that year.
David Kahn's our guest from the West Virginia Power. The game tonight has been rained out, but action beginning tomorrow. So let's get into that. Let's look ahead to what we've got. But first, before we do that, where are we at as far as how far this team has come in this start of the second half?
The team is playing really well. Obviously, small sample size. You've only played 5 games. The team won the first 4. They pretty much took it to Hickory in the first 3 games. The team came out raring to go, really hot, really ready to kind of ramp it up and say, let's go. Second half is our time. They swept Hickory pretty handily. A couple of games, Hickory had a couple of late rallies, but the bullpen slammed the door on them. Lakewood was a different story because Lakewood's a really, really good team. We had a great start from Cody Bolton in Game 1, and the offense had a 3-run 6th inning that really was the key to getting us that win in Game 1. Game 2, we ran into the sledgehammer that is Ramon Rosso. He shut us down for 6 innings, and, we just couldn't muster anything. Lakewood only got 1 run, though, so sometimes you just kind of tip your cap and say, all right, pitcher's duel, 1-0 loss, you move on. But this team is very confident in itself. It feels very comfortable with itself. We have a lot of the right pieces in place, and we certainly feel like we are a contender for the second half championship.
David Kahn's our guest. West Virginia Power in action tomorrow. Hickory, we talk about them. What's changed about them for this second half, if anything? Have you noticed, again, as you mentioned, small sample size, but where are they at now to where they were at the start of the season? Because it didn't go well for them in the first half.
No, it didn't. And, honestly, I'm not sure a whole lot has changed for them. I mean, they've had a couple of moves, but they lost one of their best relievers in Alex Spees to Tommy John surgery. So he's out until pretty much the middle of 2019 at this point. So that's a little tough for them. And, you kind of look at it, and the Rangers have an interesting farm system, but they aren't as good as they used to be. And, most of the high-level talent in Hickory has gone up to down east and levels above. So I don't know necessarily if Hickory is going to be a contender in the second half. They have some good pieces. It's just, I'm not sure if they have a complete enough team to really hang with some of the other teams in the league.
They're not very good at hitting. They're not very good in many categories. What's the challenge? The teams sometimes play down or play up to the level of their competition. What's West Virginia got to do to really stay focused and take on a team like this then?
I mean, you just focus on yourself. Yes, obviously, we just know what Hickory's about. We know we were able to sweep Hickory in 3 games, but we almost gave a couple of those games back. So the team really has to focus on the fact that, look, we know that we can beat Hickory. We have to beat Hickory and beat them, show them that they have no shot. That's going to be really the thing that this team is focused on is playing complete games. Because the first game we played in the second half was a complete 8-1 drubbing. The second game we were up 6-1 and it ended up being 6-4. The third game we were up 7-2 and ended up being 8-6. So you got to close out games like that without giving up 4 or 5 runs. So that's going to be the thing that West Virginia is going to focus on in this next series against Hickory is saying, all right, we know we can jump on them early. We know we have the offense to do it. We got to do that, and then we got to hold on, and we got to don't give them any type of momentum to make them think they can come back. That's really what the team is focusing on. But like I said, look at what you can do, not what the other team is capable of. If West Virginia plays their game, there's not a lot of teams that can hang with them over the course of the season.
There's an opportunity with an opponent like this. If West Virginia just gets a huge lead, maybe we're going to see a little bit more of that power depth, people who maybe haven't got the opportunity to come back out and show a little bit of what they can do. Has that happened yet in these games with them?
I don't really think so. We have kind of a set, area of when guys are going to throw. Guys are pretty much on a schedule in terms of pitchers. And in terms of hitters, we're a little bit shorthanded right now. We've only got 11 offensive players on our roster right now. I mean, we had, for the second game of our doubleheader yesterday, Jesse Madrano was the catcher. Jesse Madrano hasn't caught an actual game since high school. But Dion is not going to catch 14 innings of a doubleheader. So Jesse was the guy with experience, so he got the nod and he did a nice job. But we only have 23 active guys on our roster. 12 of them are pitchers right now. So we're a little bit shorthanded. So everyone's contributing at all times. I mean, there's no really guy that is not playing. Everyone is contributing, everyone is playing, and everyone's doing their part.
David Kahn's our guest from the West Virginia Power. So once we get past this rain, what's coming up this week at the ballpark for the rest of the homestand that folks maybe will be excited about? I know we missed 2 for Tuesday today just because of the weather, but Thursday's coming. There's Thirsty Thursday. What we got for Friday and Wednesday, though?
Yeah, so tomorrow, Pets in the Park night, $3 pet passes, all of the proceeds going to various animal-related organizations. You've also got Thirsty Thursday, as you mentioned, going to be $1 12-ounce beverages, $2 16-ounce cans. And then on Friday is a post-game fireworks show. Our friends at MPB Bank putting that on for us, and that's going to be a fantastic way to wrap up the homestand.
Hopefully the weather's going to hold, and you can get some miniature golf in as well.
Well, that's my own personal benefit of a rainout, but yeah, we'll see. I find I'm actually a pretty avid mini golfer, Paul, so I try and get in as much mini golf as I can.
You're not one of those. You get your own miniature golf club, right? You don't have that?
I'm not going to publicly answer that.
I think you just did.
No.
I think you just answered that question without answering it.
No, I don't. I don't have my own putter. I mean, I have my own set of clubs, but those are like actual golf clubs. I don't bring my own putter to mini golf courses.
I've known people who've done that. I'm just saying.
I know. I have done it in the past, but it's not my putter. I don't have a personal putter.
How's your game? I mean, maybe you need one. I don't know. These are questions that need answered.
Look, my game's just fine with the regular putters. I don't need to invest the money in a personal putter. I'll put it this way, Paul. The hardest course in the United States is at Disney World in Orlando, Florida, where I'm from. I've played that course probably 50 times plus. I shoot consistently under par on that course.
I think what you're saying is all comers come on, you will take them on. I think that's what I just heard you say.
I did. I mean, was that not clear?
West Virginia Power Invitational, is that happening?
Bring it on, Paul.
On the field, we turn Appalachian Power Park into.
Whoa! You got to clear that with our groundskeeper first. I'm not sure that's gonna. Maybe on the concourse. Let's do it on the concourse.
Look, you've had other events on that grass. I think we can do this. Concourse is fine. I'll take that challenge.
Look, let's go concourse. I'd much rather keep Paul, our groundskeeper, on my good side. Let's go that, and we'll go from there.
Just giving you another great promotion there, miniature golf in the concourse. So that's got to happen.
I always appreciate you giving me promotions to work with, but let's keep me on the good side of our groundskeeper, Paul. Okay.
Fair enough. I understand those guys make or break a baseball season. So fair.
They do. Paul does a fantastic job with our field, and we all respect the heck out of what he's able to do. So I try and stay on his good side as much as possible.
David Kahn's our guest. Looking ahead, we've got July 4th coming up. Fireworks at the ballpark. That's always a fun time downtown. If it's on the 3rd or the 4th, or if it's close to 4th of July, it's still a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really looking forward to that one. Highmark, West Virginia is going to put on that fireworks show for us this year. Of course, the rivalry in full effect. The Lexington Legend's going to be here on July 4th, so that'll add a little bit of extra anticipation to the July 4th game, and it should be a fun time.
He's David Kahn, master miniature golfer, and the voice of the West Virginia Power. Okay, we're going to do the tour. We'll have to come up with a tour schedule of all the miniature golf courses in West Virginia that we can hit. I think that needs to happen. I don't know when you're going to have a day off, though. You're working every day this summer, just about.
Yeah, I don't really have a day off, but let's make it happen anyways. I'll figure it out.
Okay, this could be a fall classic. I'm good with that.
All right, sounds good.
All right, challenge is on. David Kahn, our guest, West Virginia Power. Anything else you want to hit on before we say goodbye for this week?
I'm good, Paul. I'll talk to you again next week.
All right, good deal. That is David Kahn. He is the voice of the West Virginia Power. No Power baseball tonight, but they are back in action tomorrow. So how do Conference USA football coaches rank according to Athlon? I'll tell you when we come back. I'll give you a hint. The Lane train is number 1. I'll tell you where everybody else falls when we continue with today's edition of The Drive. ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Drive continues on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. So where do the Conference USA coaches rank as far as top to bottom? Well, Athlon has gone through the exercise of trying to figure out who's the best and who's not. And really, it's not an indictment of any coach. It's, okay, this is the worst coach. It's, here's the top guy, and then here's where the hierarchy follows. And really, Athlon, I'm going to nutshell this for you here. The too long didn't read portion of this. They have taken a lot of things into account as far as where you're at the program. Your history does mean something. Your biography, your wins, all that's important. But they're taking their rankings to a different place. If you start a program from scratch, which coach would you hire knowing what they've accomplished so far and their career trajectory? We're talking the coach, not the assistant. So not the staff. None of that is factored into this. Just the coach. And so Athlon has ranked them 14-1. You all knew that the Lane train was 1. I'm not spoiling anything here. But where does everybody else fall? I'm going to start with 14. And we're going to start with Brad Lambert from Charlotte. Now, he's their first football coach. And he's the guy who's been trying to transition them, get them into FBS, and he has. He's taken that team and transitioned them into an FBS-level team over the last 5 years. But Athlon points out his record. He's 17-41. He's yet to record a winning record. He did have a 4-8 mark in 2016. They slipped to 1-11 last year. They lost to FCS opponent North Carolina A&T. That's not good for Conference USA. That's not good for your Division I program. So Athlon takes into account that building a program from scratch is not easy. But they do point out as well that they've got a new athletic director now at Charlotte, and he's going to have to show some progress to be there in 2019. So this is going to be a crutch for him in one regard, because he can lean on the fact that he's building a program, but I think that crutch is going to be taken away soon. He's going to have to show that this program can stand on its own. All right. UTEP comes in at number 13. Dana Dimmel comes in 13th as far as Athlon is concerned. And again, they're putting these rankings out to talk about which coach would we like to start from scratch with. Look into what they've done in the past, their trajectory. Where would we like to go as far as the coach is going to build our program? And UTEP hires Dimmel. He's experienced. Athlon points that out. He had a playing career at Kansas State, which ended in 86. He worked with the program as graduate assistant until 88. Then he was promoted to assistant coach with the Wildcats in 89, and he became the offensive coordinator in 95. He was hired at Wyoming. He replaced Joe Tiller in 97. He went 22-13, 3 years there with the Cowboys. Then he takes over Houston in 2000, but you amass an 8-26 record over 3 seasons, you're not going to last long. Then he was a graduate assistant at Kansas State in 2005, 3 years at Arizona from 2006 to 2008. Then he returned to Kansas State as the program's offensive coordinator. He's a guy who's got some experience. He's been in football for a while. But can he get UTEP going? This is a team that averaged 11.8 points in a game in 2017. 11.8 points a game, 2017, their offense. So he's got a lot of work to do. But right now he is the 13th option. If you're taking a coach from Conference USA, where are we ranking him? Now, Rice has got a tough situation as well, and Athlon acknowledges that in their rankings. Mike Bloomgren is their new coach, and he's going to be trying to bring a team back that went 1-11 last year. And Rice is tough as well because they take the student portion of student-athlete very seriously. They've got tough academic standards, and so they should. I mean, you get an education from Rice, you're saying something. And so he's got experience. Bloomgren comes in, he's got experience with that. He worked at Stanford. You get an education from Stanford, you got something to be proud of. And he was their offensive coordinator. He also worked as an assistant with the Jets from 2007 to 10. He's never been a head coach before. So he's got to do the I'm new as a head coach shtick, and he's got to rebuild a program at the same time. That's going to be interesting. I don't look for Rice to move up the charts in the next couple of years. So we get to number 11, and we find, according to Athlon, Mike Sanford from Western Kentucky. And here's a guy who was an assistant at Western Kentucky, Stanford, Boise State, also Notre Dame, and he's worked with some coaching names like Brian Kelly, Willie Taggart, David Shaw, just to name a couple. He was considered one of college football's top coaches on the rise prior to 2017. He's from Virginia. He inherited a team coming off back-to-back Conference USA championships. So a lot of people had a high standard for Western Kentucky. Not the case. Instead, high standard kind of fell off a little bit. Offensive line play, according to Athlon, not there, inconsistent. The rushing game, not there. So his debut ends with a 6-7 record. They've got a lot of talent, so this could be a program that's back on the rise. There's a lot of young talent coming in. Now, at number 10, and I don't know, I might have moved him up a little bit, but as it stands right now, Frank Wilson at UTSA, I might have moved him up a little bit because here's a guy that Athlon acknowledges this. He's a good recruiter. He's really regarded as one of the best recruiters. And he takes over UTSA. He spent time at Ole Miss, Southern Miss, Tennessee, LSU, and he was also a pretty successful high school coach in New Orleans. So this is a guy that has some connections. He knows what he's doing. He knows where to find the players. He can make some phone calls. And I think what he did with his season, they finished 6-7, and they got their first bowl bid in his first year and finished 6-5 last season. So 2016, they go 6-7, 6-5 last fall. They are 12-12 under 2 seasons now. And I think that in itself is an accomplishment for this program. I think they're going to be better. So I look for Frank Wilson's stock to move up. UTSA, I consider one of the up-and-coming programs here in Conference USA. So we go to number 9 on this list. And so far, Doc Holliday's name has not come up, so that's good. It means he might rank a little higher. But Jay Hobson is considered number 9 in Southern Miss at his school. He's a guy who has a lot of ties to Mississippi. Athlon said that he seemed like the perfect fit to take over the program in 2016. They think he's doing a good job. Southern Miss is 15-11. They've had 2 bowl appearances. They finished 4-4 in Conference USA in 2016. They improved to 6-2 in league action last year. Prior to Southern Miss, Hobson went 32-17 at Alcorn State. He was a head coach there from 2012 to 15. Of course, you know him because he's been an assistant at several places we know and love, like Marshall. He's also been at Southern Miss, Ole Miss, Michigan, and Memphis. I never sleep on Southern Miss. That's a program that I always look for good things to happen. So at number 9, Southern Miss's head coach is Jay Hobson. Now at number 8, Old Dominion's coach, Bobby Wilder. He is he's a guy that I think Old Dominion can lean on for several years because Old Dominion didn't have football for 60 years. Then they come back in 2009, and here's a guy who's already built a program from scratch. He had to do it with Old Dominion. This is a team that's competitive, I think. They went 9-2 in 2009. They finished 8-3 the following year. They are a team that, under Wilder, has seen back-to-back FCS playoff bids. And then they used the 2013 campaign to reclassify, and they got to the FBS level. They went 6-6 in their FBS debut. They finished 10-3 to earn the program's first bowl trip in 2016. Right now, the Monarchs are 72-37 under his direction. That's good coaching right there. Number 7 is Rick Stockstill from Middle Tennessee. That's where Athlon ranks him. And why do they rank him number 7? Well, he enters the season 6th among longest tenured coaches at the FBS level. He's got experience. He's a former Florida State quarterback. He is 79-72 since taking over at MTSU in 2006, and this team has been to 7 bowl games. So Middle Tennessee's seen 7 bowls. They haven't had a losing record since 2011, and have finished at least 500 or better in Conference USA play in each of the last 5 seasons. They won a lot of games, but now this is a team that I think a lot of people are looking at could be a contender soon for the East Division title. That's probably only thing that needs to happen now for Middle Tennessee. They are definitely a contender. But Stock still has experience. He's been an assistant at South Carolina, East Carolina, and Clemson. So he's been at some major college football programs. Number 6 on the list is from North Texas, Seth Littoral. And the Mean Green finished 1-11 in 2015. And then they all of a sudden moved up to 5-8 in 2016. They got a bid to the Heart of Dallas Bowl. They lost to Army in overtime. They finished 9-5 overall and 7-1 in Conference USA play, winning the West Division, and they got to go to the New Orleans Bowl. So there's some progress there at North Texas. Now, we get to 5, 4, 3, 2, and the Lane Train when we come back from break. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Live with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
where the Conference USA coaches rank. Athlon has taken on the challenge, and we've got the results here. And we've gone through the majority of the coaches. Now we go to the top 5. And again, the criteria here, and I'm going to too long didn't read it for you, is who you're going to get. You're going to take everything into account, but who's going to be your guy to start a new program from scratch here? Maybe that's one of the big criteria. It's not the only one. But if you're looking for a guy, I know one at number 5. His name's Doc Holliday. So Athlon's got him as number 5 in the league right now. And they point out that he had a nice bounce back. They had the lowest win total in his tenure. And then Marshall was able to bounce back. Yeah, we remember that 3-win season. Trust me. You guys do the call-in show after a loss. You tell me how fun it is. It's not. It's going to be upfront with you right now. It's not pleasant sometimes when you're talking about a 3-win team. Well, Marshall fixed that for me. They rebounded 8-5. They were 4-4 in league play. The 8 wins, of course, get them a bowl berth. Then they win. So all of a sudden, guess what? Things are improving. So now he is 61-42. Marshall has 3 seasons of at least 10 victories under Doc Holliday, including a 13-1 mark in 2014. And Athlon points out that he's an ace recruiter. That's what he was known for prior to his job with the Thundering Herd. And points out his time spent at West Virginia, NC State, and Florida as an assistant. I think here's the biggest compliment that Athlon can give Doc Holliday. With Holliday at the helm, Marshall is a threat every year to win Conference USA's East Division. That's a big compliment. And that's a sign that Doc Holliday is going to have the Thundering Herd in a place to challenge every year. And that's where you want to be. You want to be the top kid. You always want to be the top kid. But as it stands right now, if you're going to take a run at the championship every year, Doc Holliday is always going to be a good guy to have driving the bus. Butch Davis comes in at 4. Here's a guy who led FIU. FIU now, this is not a team that has a previously established dynasty or anything. It's FIU. And they finished 8-5 overall. They were 5-3 in league play. They got their 3rd bowl berth in program history. So, 8-win season, that's a 4-game improvement from the previous year. Of course, Butch Davis, he knows how to win. He knows how to win in South Florida. Remember, from 95 to 2000, Miami had a 51-20 record, including an 11-1 mark in 2000. He leaves Miami, takes a shot at the NFL, and went 24-35 there. He got 1 playoff rounds from 2001 to 2004. And trust me, 24-35 is good coaching if you're the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. That's good coaching. The Browns would love to have a 24-35 mark right now because they're terrible. Now, he comes in at 4. I'm going to speed through these here because we're running out of time. Number 1, it's Lane Kiffin. Number 1. However, we've got a couple other programs to talk about first and foremost. And coming in on the 3 spot is Skip Holtz at Louisiana Tech. I mean, here's a guy who has a 9-win season streak that got snapped. But this is a guy who has won often at La Tech. They won the West Division in 2018. They finished 7-6 last year, but they did get a victory over SMU, a bowl victory to finish out the season. They're 4-0 in bowl trips. They've got 2 West Division titles, 38-28 overall under Holtz's direction. And then Bill Clark comes in at number 2 at UAB. I'm on board with that pick because, again, you have a football program, and then you don't have a football program, and then you have to go and build a football program again. And then they come in after being poorly funded and poorly taken care of, and then you see some progress, and then it just gets taken away from you and then you have to go and do it again. Rebuild this program that we shut down on you. Go. Not only are we starting from scratch again, we have handicapped you because you had a football program and we took it away, so you lost any momentum. Guess what? 8-5. Program's highest win total, and they got to go to the Bahamas Bowl. This is a program that has a good coach in Bill Clark, and of course the Lane Train. You know what the Lane Train did? They just won the Conference USA East Division title, and then the Lane Train in its first year, they went to win the Conference USA Championship. You know Lane's story. I don't need to go over that with you, do I? That's going to do it for this edition. Don't forget, you can always catch us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio. We're on TuneIn. You can listen to us on the website, WRVC.com. For our producer, Gabriel Selwards, I'm Paul Swann. Thanks for listening. This has been The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. Until then, good night, everyone.
W227BS Huntington, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Huntington Sports Station.